Hi guys, this is my new T500rs F1 rim. It's really easy to mount, which takes only about 2 minutes, and you will only need one screwdriver for it. You also don't need to handle cables or such. I think this is really thought through here. It has several more buttons than the standard rim. I actually counted 23 overall that give you a lot of options during a race. The best thing about it are probably the moving shifting pedals on the back, which allow you to shift even during huge drifts and or counter steering. But this only works if you use no more than 360 degrees of rotation, because else you will crash your arms in the middle. I will show you my settings later, so you can go on track quickly and be sure to have set it up correctly. Something I really like about are those little wheels here, which simply act like if it were two buttons each, one for up and one for down. It's just nicer to be able to spin it instead of having to keep pushing the same button again. I use it now for adjusting brake balance, and I think we will later use it for changing roll bars as soon as the game allows it during the race. The rim itself is a little thinner compared to the standard wheel, but I kind of like it because you can wrap your hands around it nicely and feel in touch with the car really. The grips are made of rubber, which tend to lose some black color during the first day, but now it seems to be alright. It's really down to you whether you prefer a round wheel or an edgy one. I am fine with this because I only use 300 degrees of rotation, which I think has major advantages. First, you never have to let go a hand during counter steering. Second, you will always have a finger close to the shifting pedals to react quickly when necessary. Third, you just have shorter distances to do when you need to counter steer and thus are quicker in reaction. Now let's take a view on my other settings. The force feedback should be set to 60% in the driver and to 60% in the game as well. This is because there is a limited amount of details that can be transported via the force feedback, and if you use very strong force feedback you will lose detail during corners. The filter setting is to avoid force feedback peeps or on bumps and curbs. I do not use the damping because it makes the wheel feel a little spongy. Spongy? Yeah, spongy. I reduced the force feedback on curbs to 50% because I only need the rattle to know whether I'm on the curb or not. Using more of it is just loud and distracting, I think. The road effects, they are to show you if you're in bank turns or if you're on bumps, and often you really need to know whether you are on it or not, because you have to react on it from time to time. That's why I use quite high value here. Slip effects are also important, but I don't need that much of it. Those three effects, of course, can differ from your feelings, so you should really play around with that and find out what you like there. The most important setting for me here is the gamma. That means the higher the value, the less sensitive the wheel will be around the center and progressively more to the maximum steering angle. This gives you more room for slightly wrong arrows during the turn and a more detailed steering around the center. This is very different from speed sensitivity though, as it only depends on the turning angle of the wheel. I recommend not to use speed sensitivity at all, because with one steering angle in the corner you will steer more as you slow down, which can be quite confusing. I use filter here as well to avoid wrong interpretations from the sensor. Now, let's see the wheel in action and do some couple of laps. I chose the Lotus T125 in the Stage 1 edition with lots of horsepower, so we have some drifts and can see how the wheel behaves. Yeah, I also chose the track in Budapest, which I think is a good combination of high speed downforce turns and yeah, low speed turns where you will have mechanical drip and thus a lot of oversteer in the car. So let's have a look. Okay, so here this is some of the first laps I'm doing with a new wheel on Budapest with a T125. What you can already see is that the input given by the wheel is really synced to what the wheel in-game does. And you can also see in the first two corners already how even large drift angles are controllable. And yeah, it's quite nice to feel the wheel going over the curbs here. You get a lot of feedback from it if you set it up right. And yeah, even if you lock up brakes and the rear tends to pass you during braking, you can really feel it and hear it coming. Yeah, it's always a combination of the force feedback given by the wheel, plus very important for me is sound, because you will always hear the RPM done by the engine when you accelerate, and if the RPM rises faster than what would happen when you had grip. So when you hear the car getting louder, basically, all of a sudden you will know that you have lots of wheel spin and can already prepare for counter steering. Of course, that all happens within tenths of a second, but if you listen closely to it when accelerating, you will really get a feeling of what I mean. And then you have force feedback if you have set it up right, and you have sound, and in combination they really allow you to control the car quite nice. Also, the Budapest track here, the conversion is quite bumpy in the first two turns, and also in front of the next braking zone, but you will also nicely feel that in the force feedback and will be able to hit the brakes right after the bump, so you not lock up the tires like I just did. Yeah, and also control the drift here. That's really terrific. Okay, the wheel really delivers a nice amount of force and has a nice feeling overall. For the about $400 to $500 you gotta pay for it. I think it was a good investment compared to the Logitech G25 I used earlier. And yeah, of course the buttons are really a great advantage, even if the game doesn't allow to use much of it by now already. Even if you're on the curb and the car slips, you will be able to catch it. And yeah, if you have questions or anything, how to set up the wheel, put them in the comments, and hopefully within the next couple of days I will be able to publish the second part of the Nürburgring and how to drive the second sector in the Z4 GT3. So for now, bye guys, and give me feedback as I'm still stalling with this. Bye.